Welcome to Bytes and Biceps, where tech and fitness meet, the essential podcast for club operators in the fitness industry. I'm your host, Christian Menard, here to equip you with the knowledge you need to take your club to the next level. If you're a club owner or operator, this is the podcast for you. We're on a mission to help you succeed with proven strategies and insights powered by our flagship club management software, Compete. In our first episode, we're sharing a success story that's changing the game. A club owner who's achieved an astounding 99% collectability rate with a few straightforward changes. Imagine boosting your club's performance by mastering these steps. This is the kind of real-world actionable wisdom we're bringing straight to you. Join us as we share expert interviews, insider tips, and sneak previews of tech innovations reshaping the fitness industry in Jonas Fitness's new podcast, Bytes and Biceps, your guide to club management success. My name's Christian Menard, Marketing Manager here at Jonas Fitness. On the call, we have Barry Bluer, Client Success Manager here at Jonas Fitness. And our special guest for today, we have Mr. Paul Reed, the owner of Mount Hood Athletic Club. So let's just get right into it. Let's start from the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey using Jonas Fitness, using Compete, and a little bit of your journey about you and your club.
Okay. Well, I've been in the business for a little while, and at one point I was operating a club for basically a credit union, and they were doing in the back office collections for family fitness on the contracts because they were selling those basically at 25 cents on the dollar, and they needed facilities open so that they could collect that. After some time, they didn't seem that was in their best interest, and we were about ready to walk away for it. I made them a deal. Hey, if I can get things going, give me a year, see if I can work something out with the landlord. I'll pay you for the business of about $25,000. At the end of the year, at renewal time, I got the landlord to do a renew lease with me and pay the credit union the $25,000. In the meantime, one of the first things I did that was a big investment was I picked up a basic DOS computer, and I had a member and a friend that was in the industry, and he knew of a medical software billing program. And I think we took that club over in about December 87, so it was 1988. And that's the first thing we did. Got that computer, started putting in all the members' data. What they would do previously for billing is you joined. It was a year or 2 year contract. First thing we did is provide that month-to-month option, and they would give you a coupon book. And so you're responsible for sending in the payments every month. And I thought that was both a lazy and not efficient way to go. I wanted billing. And so that's why we looked at that, getting a computer, DOS system, medical billing program, and we just started inputting everybody's data. We had some little pitfalls. It was a bit of a struggle, but we got it going, and we saw an immediate increase in revenue without a huge growth in membership. So we knew that was the ticket. And then we could also send out late statements. So we wanted to make sure we got it out in the beginning of the month, and late statements again out about the middle of the month and so forth. So that kind of started the process. I think in about 2 or 3 years later, trade show, we saw Affiliate, and they had a software program that was much more robust than what we were using for sure, and we could do the EFT option with it. So that's where we got started with Affiliate way back. And if we had any issues or hiccups or anything like that, we were on the phone, and you'd get someone right away within 3 or 4 rings. So we were in constant communication with them.
So just for a little bit of context and backstory, Affiliate was acquired by CheckFree, which was later acquired by Jonas Software. So when we're talking about Affiliate, we're actually talking about the early days of Jonas Fitness. So I just wanted to keep that in mind and just wanted to put that out there for everybody to know. Sorry, Paul, take it away.
So we saw a lot of progression in the software. And that's kind of how all that evolved. I see a lot of clubs that bounce around from software company to software company, trying to find the perfect fit. It's not going to happen. You got to we've juggled around to make things happen for us on things. Nothing's going to be perfect, but the longer you stay with a software program, you really start learning some of the different nuances, some of the things it can do, some of the things that you can incorporate in different manners. You just kind of look, hey, we need to be able to do this. Can it do it? okay, we got to come to something on our else or use the other part of the program to do that. So we always keep looking, hey, how can this get better? If you hire people that have a natural curiosity, they'll kind of go down that road. I think one of the things I like to do is challenge my employees is, hey, how can we get this bumped up? Well, if we did this, why do that? And sometimes they look at me like I'm crazy or that won't work, that won't work. But you know what? They think about it. And the next day or two, they come up, maybe we can do this or this. So we keep looking at better and better options. And I think we looked at those and the way our membership was set up. And I tell you, COVID, a lot of people sat back to see what happened. Some people, took the opportunity to make some changes. And that's one of the things we did. During COVID, or just before COVID hit, we were looking at doing the turnstile. Well, COVID gave us the opportunity to make sure we got that up. And we figured, hey, when we reopen, we're going to make sure that's integrated with the system. The other thing we did was we changed the membership. We simplified it. If you look at us, we've had probably up to 18, 20-some memberships by the time you have different corporates, discounts, things like that. We just simplified it. Single, couple, family, and then there's a corporate discount. It's like $5. And that means one payment from one company instead of, and that can be EFT payment or whatever. So we really kind of simplified that. It really bolstered family memberships. They literally doubled. The turnstile with coming back after COVID, people were coming in a little bit slower, so it's easier to get them acclimated to that. Huge impact. Yeah, we had some little nuances of people sneaking in, using other key cards, things like that. But we started watching, and you know what? Your staff people, if they're paying any kind of attention, they know who those people are that are trying to beat the system. So we're able to clamp down on that, and you end up getting a few memberships. Oh crap, I gotta pay now. So we were doing that, and one of the things that we also did during COVID is we had to scale back a little bit. We lost a third of our membership, over $800,000 in cash flow in 2020. So we kind of dissolved some positions, and one was our bookkeeper. And we changed our membership, that we have membership people here all the time. And a lot of times we take our membership people and we pull them from the desk staff. So they've got a good understanding of the software. There's a little less additional training when they get into, and we refer to it as member services. And so they do the membership changes. They help people with their accounts, and they're in part of the process of our billing cycle and our collection because they know it so well. I think of what happens, and we noticed it for a while with Affiliate, you don't have to spend a lot of time. The biggest time-consuming thing, I think, with a software is people just going up and down on their memberships, from a single to a couple to a family members. And we charge them. If they add on, there's a charge. If you take them off, there's a charge. We have to rewrite the contract, the membership agreement. So that helped reduce some of that. We simplified the memberships. We did away with the bookkeeper, which was a part-time job that kind of evolved as a full-time job, and it shouldn't have been. So it just got absorbed as an additional responsibility of our member services. It allows for greater service to the member because those people are here from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So during that time, you can get those membership changes, get your questions answered, and get a tour and join. I was at Pizza last February, and we were talking about, had roundtables of changes that clubs made, and I would say 40% of clubs did away with membership and just had their front desk people do it. And I'm going, big mistake. We started off that way when we first got going because we couldn't afford to add that whole other department. Once we got away from it, had those dedicated people, big improvement in membership sales. And now we've taken a step further and say, hey, here's a great formula. Take your good to advance your desk people, put them in membership. They're getting basically the same rate. And now they get a little commission on top of it because they're familiar with the software and all the nuances and so forth.
So what was their response when you brought that up in the roundtable?
They were surprised. And I said, and here's how we really utilize it. Got rid of the bookkeeping. They handle everything. And with the processes that we put in place, we are collecting basically plus 99% of billable revenue each month. And And the report don't lie. It's actually what goes out as billables and what comes in. And we get that right off the Jonas record. So we're not manipulating in any such way. Our best since we've really been tracking it and everything in the last year, our best month was February. We collected 99.89% of all billables. Our worst month was actually May. We did 98.66. And we've got, basically a simplified one-page system, and it's really just getting accurate information. Turnstile really helps. It stops them right there. Anything from birthdays to wrong phone numbers or emails or any of that. It stops them. The front desk isn't the bad guy by saying, oh, hold on a minute, I need to get some information from you. Now it's, let me buzz you in. Let's get this fixed for you. Oh, the computer just needs an updated email. It got bumped back. And what can you give us a new email? So now you're the hero instead of the villain.
So it sounds like it's a twofold thing. It's a customer service focus and accurate data. That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay, and one of the things that people said when we put it in and got up and going, you guys are going upscale now. Because it turns out a lot of times associated with higher end, secure type places, like if you go to football games or baseball or, pro sports, you've always got turnstiles that monitor. I mean, the only thing we don't have is metal detector for if people are bringing in weapons. So,
it's like the hotels that have concierges and ones that don't.
Right.
It's the whole upscale factor to it all.
Mm-hmm. And you can position in multiple different ways. You could say express check-in. It's the turnstile. If you don't have a key card on your phone or a key card hard copy, then you guys wait in line and get manually checked in. And then you got to do it by name, so it's a little more time consuming. So we saw a lot of that initially. That's greatly diminished. So part of what member services do is when you join, they go through and show you how to download our app. And here you can put in your card. You can put in your family's card so you can check in all your kids and so forth. And because of that, so people don't share, now it's even more important to get their pictures and so forth. And so you get some people don't want their picture taken. Say, well, now you're going to have to show driver's license ID, and we can't give you charging privileges. Someone else could use that number, and we don't know if it's you or not. So a lot of things kind of play hand in hand with that. I mean, we've got just a schedule how everything is done on a monthly basis. We do software audits to make sure billing is set up properly for all primary members. Those make sure there's not double charges or there's a zero, or if there's a zero, what's that? Oh, they prepaid or something of that nature. The gate, like I said, the turnstile stops them with anything other than okay status, and then the front desk is able to assist. Of course, we do the billing the first of the month, and then the financial institutions is on the 5th of the month, and then again on the 20th. Those are primary, number one, paydays. So we want to kind of be first in line on that if we can. Returns will start coming in on the 5th, first with any frozen cards and then with soft declines. As soon as we get those, we send out the emails that day. Any bounce back emails are noted in the back office on the general tab, and that's an alert so they can't get in without updated email.
And you guys do this all internally, correct?
Yep.
That's awesome.
So we utilize, like I said, the member services data that works basically, like the communications and, a lot of the operations will run a lot of the reports. She can hand that off to member services. I think they're down there. I think twice a month we bring in an extra member services person that works maybe half a day just to review everything. What are those soft declines, who and why, and make sure we get the email sent out, so that on the next go around, we're collecting the majority of those dollars. They're informed. A lot of them come in. They'll just pay when they come in to use the club. So again, we do the emails. We utilize the messaging system with Compete. Our date is 10 days after the billing is sent, the 10th of the month typically. This allows for all the frozen soft declines and returns and changes and updates and everything that we get back. So we reduced that initial number by quite a few.
Yeah, they're using the account updater, I think is what he's talking about there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Now,
and when
you
we
mentioned
found it
that-
through all these, the dates are really, really important. Not that they're back to back, that there's a little bit of time in between, and which are the things that we're utilizing along that
So
line.
the two dates that you mentioned were the 1st and the 15th? Those were the two dates that you mentioned?
The 1st and the 20th
20th. Okay, cool.
is when we do the billing and the resends. I mean, the actually goes out on the 5th for the first billing.
Gotcha.
If you do it before then, they haven't gotten paid. So you're going to get more returns. Way back when we were doing that, and we were happy. We were getting like 85%, on the EFTs and stuff. There was a club in Vancouver, and I was talking to the gal, and they're saying, I'm having such a hard time. We're barely getting 50% on our EFTs and stuff. And when are you sending it? It was like the 1st and the 10th or the 15th. I said, just bump it back 5 days. You'll get to a 50% increase. You're billing people when they're still waiting for their paycheck, and the majority of people go from paycheck to paycheck. So
Right.
you're gonna miss a lot of people in that regard.
So say, for instance, you implement some of the basic things that you just mentioned, like the customer service person in front making sure everyone has up-to-date information, and then say a club does just a simple thing like making sure the timing of their communications is correct. If they do those two things, how quick do you guys start seeing a return on just those two simple actions?
It's almost immediate. I mean, the hard part is at the front desk is to ask people for stuff. When they get stuck and they can say, "Let me help you," it totally changes the atmosphere and the philosophy at the club. You're there to help. You're not there to police. So especially in clubs, this is kind of a lot of times a starter job for high school kids. People without a lot of life experiences is kind of one of their first or second jobs, or maybe they went from McDonald's and say, okay, I'd rather work at the club, get a membership. It's a positive environment and all that. So it's very difficult to get the employees to really, because basically you're almost confronting the member, and that's where we saw where the turnstile was so huge. Right before COVID, we were putting it in. We installed it ourselves, so it was under $30,000 for a 2-door turnstile. I think paid for itself. I can't tell you how fast. Probably.
Wow.
We're hitting with COVID, so really not then. Probably within the first year post-COVID. I mean, we went from almost numbers when we first opened to 21 doing about 2.1 million, 2.7 million, and 22, and we're looking at doing over 3 million this year in gross receipts. So,
and what's your membership base right now, Paul?
We're over about 3,000 memberships and over 5,000 members.
Okay. A couple of things I want to point out. Paul is using the MyGym app with the barcode login capability, and he also uses the text communication. And I'm sure he's using the delinquency texting to, again, notify members as quickly as possible to improve the overall collection. That's just one of the...
And we
we
also do the hard phone calls. We do the phone calls. But by the time we do the phone calls, we're talking less than a dozen people in most cases. So that's usually not a problem. And they're there to say, hey, can we assist you on this? Or do you need to cancel a membership, make arrangements? And we try and come across that we're there to help. We're in a smaller community, and, you get a bad name, you're done. It's not like you're in a major, right down there in Portland. Oh, there's plenty of fish to get out of this pond. We're a small pond with a limited number of fish, so we want to make sure we get our share because there's not that much, a little more effort to get each catch.
I mean, it almost seems counterintuitive because people nowadays are always in a hurry. They're there to work out, get in and get out. But you set that customer service expectation up front, and not only are you setting a great environment for people to come and work out in, you're also getting that accurate information that just helps. That would be my reasoning on why you make so few phone calls when you do make phone calls.
Well, and through all the different devices, You know, the phone text, the emails, when they come into the club, the actual phone calls, you try and minimize that because that's a job nobody likes. We're in a tech-savvy type world or, you know, via social media and all that. And most people don't answer their phone. Again, you're leaving a message. Hey, please give us a call regarding your account. And that's mainly what they do. And what we find is if you do one and then a day or two later do another call and leave about 2 messages, maybe I should get this taken care of. Where it's one, they'll say, oh, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, they're going to keep bugging me. But it's not like every hour you're calling or anything like that, or it's nothing threatening. It's, you know, you leave a soft message.
So it sounds like a multifaceted approach to your communications with your clients seems to be what helps you as well.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you've got the front desk involved, member services, and then you got the back office and the DM, you know, checking all the reports, seeing what we're doing. Hey, here's the phone calls, here's the text we have to send out. Here's the emails. We probably do 2 emails that month, at least 1 text, and the phone calls. And again, it's that first billing. Hey, we don't have this, and information. Someone's got to put in, hey, we need this, we need this, we need this. You know, we need updated credit card information, that type of thing. And it didn't go through, you know, so, and then why didn't it go through? You know, was there a card compromised and canceled, or, you know, and usually get those on the return. They're coded. So we can put that reason, hey, you see you canceled your card, we need to get updated information. And that's one of the easiest things. People respond pretty quick. A lot of times they'll just call it in or say, hey, I need to give you new information. So a lot of times people are coming, when they come in, they're giving us the new information, the expiration date on, I mean, we got Updater, so it gets most of that. All those things working in connection, doing it on the right timely basis, not too close. I mean, we've tried it at different times, and we see, okay, we get a little bit better response here, and we've kind of tweaked it that certain things follow the previous thing so many days later. Usually it's 3 to 5 days, and in the between, we're constantly updating because we don't want to send something out to someone that they've already taken care of. And then that just gets annoying for people. So that's what you want. Enough of a gap that nothing gets crossed yet. You're on the next phase of this process.
Another thing I'd like to add, he does use Empower Me in the app, so the members can update their information online as well. That is a facet. I don't know how many members are actually taking advantage of that, but I bet, you know.
We have a few. I know we have a few, and I think that being a little more user-friendly and robust for the member, I think the other would be kind of like the scheduler. I know we're trying to work out where we can utilize that more for like swim lessons and some things like that. You know, the more it's automated from their point, then we're just kind of doing the fixes. The fewer fixes we have to do, both parties are happier, both the customer and we are. The one thing, you know, party organs like a lot of states, minimum wage is going up. We're basically starting people off almost at $15 an hour right now. I think it goes up this month, yeah. And then we have a system where, because we offer multiple services, you get your CPR, you get a 25-cent raise. You get your food handlers, another 25-cent raise. We serve beer and wine, get your LCC, another 25-cent raise. We have tanning certification, another 25-cent raise. We have our in-house pool and spa test and exam. That's another. So another $1.25 they can make. And, you know, some of these things are required. You've got basically 3 months to get the CPR food handlers and then 6 months to get the others. So pretty much all of our staff have all that. The other nice thing is by acquiring those things, they have more knowledge on the operations of the club and those things that we have in place. They have to be proficient at those. So that makes them provide information better to the members when they come in, they have inquiries and so forth. Front desk is the information center of the club, and we've got a lot of things going on. We've got the massage chairs, and we've got red light therapy and vibrasonics and personal training and all these different things that they've got to be able to be savvy on. So some of the things that have the certifications or licensing for, you know, those are little perks that we can do.
Awesome. I have a follow-up to something that Barry touched on. It's something you touched on as well, Paul, We've mentioned a couple of products that Jonas has, like Account Updater. You've mentioned some integration partners like MyGym and Text Communication. And we've mentioned, of course, our flagship product, Compete. How has it been working with all those different products, getting everything working for your particular ecosystem? How has it been setting all that up? What's been your experience?
Well, with a lot of things, if you're new to it or it's just been rolled out, there's some difficulties, and you just have to work through those. There are some things maybe it doesn't do, but you can find a workaround, and that's what you got to look at. Like I said, I've seen a lot of clubs that have jumped ship from one software provider to another, and then they find things wrong with that. I know a club, they're wanting to build their own software. I go, I would never do that. I mean, if you're dealing with EFTs and some of those federal regulations, I got enough of government on my back. I don't need that. So I know some of them had issues. Some of them have been with Jonas and gone to others and have some regrets of how things were handled. I know one club went to a new place and they were literally keeping almost 2 months of his EFTs, because of COVID and stuff, because of refunds. And I think part of that was they were remaining open when they were supposed to be closed, so there were some liability issues along those lines. The neat thing with Jonas, never an issue. If there's been a mistake on your guys' end, you've owned it and you've gotten it taken care of. You've always helped us along with a lot of the things. And I just see the software getting more robust and smoother and automated. The interesting thing will be the integration of AI into all this, both a little scary
coming.
And how it can do all of our processes pretty much without some of the manpower, reduce a little bit of the manpower, and we can focus maybe on face-to-face services.
Hey, Paul, when did you go to Compete, if I can ask? Because you must have been one of the early adopters of Compete.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we had Affilian and we had the desktop version, and we kind of hung on to that because, the big thing we like is we like to have that certain amount of control. It's hard to let go of that control when you've had it for so long.
Sure.
Everything is just right. So, like I said, it was probably Affilian in 1990, 91, somewhere right around there.
Well, that was the V4 though, right? That was the desktop V4.
Yep. Yeah, we had that for the longest time. Really liked it. They just kept adding some things. I think the thing I liked the best is that when a person checked in, their name and picture would stay up in the corner. You could have a rolling index of alerts. I could go to the front desk, click on any of the alerts, get their picture pop up, and say, why didn't we get this person? We need his updated credit card information.
Yeah.
And there was a time I think we went to ABC for like about 3 months and then switched back because of the collection process. And I said, we can do it better. And that's when this was probably in the early 2000s, 02, when we acquired a second club. We switched back and said, we can do this better. And so, we started looking at those things, and then I said, okay, I'm going to get on these alerts. And I'd go to the front desk and I could say, oh, this person's still in the club. I could just click on that alert and their picture would come up, and then I had to call them. I could click on another, and they actually gave a graph and the number of people that came in per hour that showed right up on the check-in screen. I could be dealing with someone over here and someone checked in. Oh, what's that person's name? And they'd still be on the computer, easy to find. I go, oh, okay, it's so-and-so. So I'm not the best with names. I would spend 20, 30 minutes here or there several times throughout the day, just at the front desk, just to kind of greet people, know people by their name and so forth. Because it's like everybody knows who I am, but definitely don't know enough of our members and so forth. So I thought that was always valuable. As from the customer service standpoint, there's a lot of turnover at the desk in any club. And the ability for those employees to acknowledge and know people by name, they're greeters. Imagine going to Walmart and they know your name every time you come in. There was, what was his? A guy came in, Farrell's Ice Cream Parlors. He did a presentation at FitLife. And one of the things he was most impressed by, he went to Hawaii and he ran a car and Went to this one gas station. I had filled up, and the guy asked him what his name was, and went there again. And the guy acknowledged him by his name. He goes, "How do you remember my name?" And then he asked, it happened again. He goes, "How do you remember my name? I come here like once a month or every 2 months, and I'm gone for 6 months." And he told him the secret. He wrote down his name on a piece of tape and put it inside of the lid of the where the gas tank was. So when he flipped up that lid to fill it, he knew the person's name and would go and greet him. And he said, "You know what? That was so wonderful. That's the only gas station he ever went to." Yeah, he always went to that gas station to fill up because that guy knew his name. That's one of those little snippets of information that kind of stick with you. Name acknowledgement is huge. Yeah. So any way we can enhance that enhances that customer service experience.
So how would you say your transition between the affiliate products to Compete went for you? Yeah, I know it's probably been a while.
The desktop to the other one was a little painful because a lot of it was because we had so different many membership types. We tried cleaning up some of it, but we had, month to month, we had contracts, we had single, couple. Families were $15 for each additional person on the membership. We had corporates. We had the ones where a couple of different discounts where people paid themselves and then where the company paid. And there were different tiers of that. So you had single, couple, family. So we had like probably 20-some memberships. And so one of the biggest things we did is when we simplified it. And what we saw post-COVID, part of it could be because I think more people are doing a few more staycations. Families literally doubled. Our memberships for families doubled once we simplified it. Because, hey, you're a family or you're not. And if you got 5 or 3, it doesn't make a difference. So if one isn't using it, you keep them on there anyway. So the once in the blue moon that he does use it, Junior's probably dragging mom or dad down there that maybe they wouldn't have gone. So that's really been big. We've noticed our attrition numbers go down. With COVID, we diversified, so we had other revenue sources. And we keep looking at how little things can get better and better.
So now that you've had some time to be on Compete, what has been your experience? So if you had to explain it in one sentence, what has been your experience now that you've had some time, to experiment, you've worked some things out, and you've had a chance to grow with Compete? How would you say your experience has been with our software?
I'd say it's good. We've either bended or it's worked with us. There's so much mutual ground. There's nothing that can't be overcome, either a workaround or just doing something different. And for us, like I said, the big one was just doing the membership change. I mean, we had some real pain when we had just all these memberships. So we kind of had to work to conform a little bit with the Compete model, which ended up being for the best in the long run. I think originally when it came out, it was kind of designed that every single person's a member, every single person's a membership, which was a little bit more of the chain formula per se, like a Planet Fitness or something like that, hey, $19 per person, $29 per person. Hey, in an ideal world, that's how you would have it. But now you got the members, but they can be linked to one person paying, which can be the membership.
It kind of goes back to what you mentioned,
but you just got to say, how can I make this work, and keep going.
Right.
And if you stay with it long enough, there's a lot of things that you don't know how to use or you're not aware of that you start experimenting. One of the smartest people I know that's a great communicator is my wife, Lila. And she is one of the most curious people you would ever meet. She asks questions. She never talks about herself when she's talking to someone. She's asking you questions because she's genuinely curious. She's, like I say, she's one of the smartest people. I think if you have people working for you that are curious and have initiative, that means they'll try things based on their curiosity. They will find ways to make something work. And I think there's a lot of business owners, they want the perfect model. It ain't out there.
Right.
I mean, we spent a lot of time, we looked at everybody. And there was one company, and we knew the guy, the CEO, the owner pretty well. He was Lebanese. My wife's half Lebanese, so they talk about cooking and, kind of hit it off. And he wanted to go, huh?
That was Al from MotionSoft, right?
Exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
That's that. Yep. And he told us flat out, no one can do that. If they tell you they can do it, they're lying. We can't do it. No one can for some things that we're looking at. We just said, well, let's just make what we got work, and it worked. We just had to be willing to explore it, look at our options, try different things. So it's like, okay, we want to get 99% collection, return. Let's start going down this road. It might be the wrong direction, but we'll find out because we'll get the feedback that it's not working. Let's take a right turn here and let's see if this works. It may not. Or it says, you know what, if we did this, if we could get it to do this, it would work. And, I think for a large part, that's kind of what we did. We looked, okay, they've got these different tools, and how do we use it? And, like I think you guys realize that number one is just accurate information. And you got to get everybody on board on that purpose. I think a huge jump would be for you guys would be really tying in with a turnstile company, and that you could go and look at a club and say, here's what we can do. We've got the partners in place. We can give you a price. We can get a turnstile installed. We can compete. We'd have these locations. Here's a system for what we've got with the emails and the texts and the check-in and the app and the information system, all in one neat bundle. So it's kind of like the fitness provider is saying, we can get your cardio equipment, your weight equipment. You know what? We can even get your fitness testing stuff over here. And here's the program to get more people into training programs. And it's a complete package and bundle. We can recommend and have some space that you could allocate for functional training. Here's what it would look like, and here's some of the things that it would be able to bring in and provide for you. So I think a company that would do it could, you come in, and here's the turnstile system with.
We've actually got it.
Yeah.
We've actually got it now, Paul. Believe it or not.
Oh, you do?
Okay. It's funny that you're mentioning this. We just added a brand new partner to our channel partner ecosystem that does offer these services. Passport Technologies is the partner that we have partnered with, and they offer RFID technology. They offer key tags, cards. They offer readers, barriers, and one of the things they also offer is the turnstiles. So we are actually working with this partner now. It's something that's still relatively new, but if clubs are interested in taking advantage of your turnstile advice, this is something that we now offer that integrates with Compete.
They've got the turnstiles, they've got the readers and everything. So it's basically a door access. It's a different door access relay than the one you're using, but
yep.
It'll be all from the same company in that environment now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking to them to get better readers for our key cards, so it's a little more robust.
Now, are you using barcodes or proximity key tags?
Barcodes, so both on the phone, and they also have the keychain ones. So
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Paul, but I believe you said when we spoke the last time, I even put it in here, Compete has all the tools to run a successful club.
It does. It's worked for us. I mean, sometimes you might have to make a few little changes, as a club, but it's nothing insurmountable. I mean, if you've got one person limited time in the back office and they're trying to do the things that we're doing, it ain't gonna work. You've got to have your frontline people involved. If you don't have either membership sales or member services like what we did involved, it's not going to work. Sometimes salespeople, they just do sales and that's it. But they've got to be involved where they get people to download the app. Here's your key code. Here's your barcode. Put it in there, and through that process, because that's a big communication piece. So that's one step. And you can drive people to that. I mean, club has to just be constantly kind of saying, hey, how can I make this better? Be curious. And, even if it's wrong, have a system, have a plan on how they're going to process and collect the dues without it being an imposition to the member.
So that leads me to another question I have, Paul. You mentioned being curious within your club and with your employees. Sometimes we find this issue with our clients where they say, man, we wish Compete could do this, or we wish Compete can do that. And it actually does. Many times we just need to be curious and figure out a solution. How often do you find yourselves reaching out to us to say, hey, does the software do this? Can we achieve this? And what do you find when you do reach out to us for that type of help?
Well, I think a couple of things is you need to make sure that you've got some of your management people looking for better ways to do things. Mm-hmm. And how can we make it easier for some of our other employees? You know, I know the kind of the reservation deal for like swim lessons or group things like that can make life a little easier for people. And, I keep saying, hey, how can we do this? Can we do that? We can to certain degrees, but kind of the way we've got it set up doesn't quite work. And I think Sandra and Tiffany may have reached out and, well, we can't quite do it that way. We kind of got to do it the old-fashioned way where people show up and sign up. Just because there's so many levels, like in swim lessons, people signing up for the one, we got to make sure it's the right level for that kid. And there's only like 4 in a group and that type of thing. There's just workarounds. At some point, we'll explore and say, hey, how about we do this, or how about, so we got to eliminate some things, and then it kind of takes you closer to that path, but you want to keep looking on how you can make it better.
So his team is amazing. He's got whether it's Lila or Sandra or Medea, this group of folks is second to none. I can't say enough about your staff. It's not an issue at all to hear from any of them, and they're all as gentle and kind of people as you'd want to deal with out here in our industry, and they're always on their game. They are if they've got a question that makes sense. It's there's a purpose behind it, and they're really just a joy to work with. So I'll throw that back towards you, Paul, because your team is as good as there is, and I know that comes from the top down. You and Lila run one hell of a club.
Well, we love our employees. It's really an extended family. We got probably half a dozen have been with us 16 years or longer.
Wow.
When something needs to be done, they'll get it done. They may, might bring up something and might moan and groan about it, but they're going to find a way to do it. Then they look at it as a challenge, and it's game on.
Awesome. So it kind of sounds like whenever they want to find workarounds or find a solution for something, there's always a collaboration between you, your team, between our Jonas employees, Barry. It sounds like it's a giant collaboration to get stuff done. Yeah,
it's, and I think part of it, and this is where maybe other clubs would have difficulty, is I was a big racquetball player. I played all over the country. I mean, I played regionals in the Southeast and California, Canada, all over the country. And being in the club business, I'd always kind of check out a club and see what I like and don't like. And you really got maybe 3 kinds of owners. You got the ones that love the business of health and fitness. You've got the ones that love the money, and you've got the ones that are just getting by. And I've tried to do some consulting with people that are kind of in love with the money, and they want to put the cart in front of the horse. Show me the money, and I'll do these other things. No, you got to do these things. The money will come. It will come. And you see that in the people that love the business. It's take care of the business first, and they're rewarded for those efforts. I've seen rundown clubs. Put some paint on the wall. Do something. They're just soaking it for whatever they can. And I go, you're done. You're done. It's not going to take much of a competitor to come in here and just knock you on your hiney. And then you see those that go after it. Even though they have a great facility, they'll just say, how do I make it better? What's the next step I can take? And members love that. We've had a couple of dues increases since COVID. We haven't had a single complaint.
That's pretty interesting that you're saying that. Do you think they don't have a word to say? They don't complain about the price increases because of all the ways that you're constantly improving your club? Or do you approach those price increases in a particular way that helps with that?
Well, one thing is we say 4 to 8% of our gross revenue goes back into the club. And we also try and do a balance of throwing on a new roof or equipment, things that they can see and touch. So we want half to go into something like that. The other half can be into some of the physical things. And a lot of times that can be tile, bulletproofing walls so they don't look like they're beat up all the time. So we would do that every year. If we had to paint, if we painted this last year and it's got to be painted this year, we'd look and say, how do we bulletproof it and put it into what our decor and so forth looks like? So we're, and that's like wood, tile, things like that. Looking at it, say, hey, I don't want to ever mess with this again. What can we do? We're even looking at the showers where can we get granite pieces, the full size of the shower, so we don't have any grout lines. Things like that, or corian. Literally, you could just hose it down without having to scrub or getting any discoloration or things like that. Those are things that we, the other part that we look at. But like I said, I think key is that reinvestment, 4 to 8% of your gross income.
So do you think all that work that you do serves as a constant reminder to your customers, or do you find yourself at the end of the year having to remind your customers, hey, look, here's everything we've done, as sort of a price increase type of communication?
No, we don't have to tell them anything because they can see it. They feel it. Right. They're experiencing it.
That's awesome.
Having that friendly staff, having the staff that knows their names, because they come here for more than just the fitness. They come for, some of the socializing, to feel good. When you have a membership club, regardless what it is, they feel they have some ownership in that because they're paying those dues every month. And when they see improvements taking place, and it can be painting, it can be, we're closed for 2 days for like maintenance. And we did, one of the things, we're doing a lot of cleaning. We expanded the weight room in this one area and it had a light colored paint and it showed a lot of mark. And my wife was saying, well, we can do it another time after hours. No, we're closed. They got to see an improvement. So, I grabbed a couple of the other guys that was doing cleaning and we're getting this thing painted. And we got it all painted and it looks fresh and clean and new. And it's those things. They got to see that visible change. Plus, we had window cleaners out here that cleaned all the windows inside and out and steam clean carpets, and we had one person for 2 days was on a floor scrubber scrubbing every floor in the club. We even have one of those little carpet cleaners that you rent from the grocery store, and we had one guy just doing black mats with that thing for 6 to 8 hours. Someone was on that. The last thing you want is a musty smell or something that's not fresh. So,
right, like a high school gym.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, I went out and I said, okay, I need 2 guys to get weeds and pick up these branches. And I was trimming shrubs for a couple hours. Didn't take me anything to cut it down, but I needed some people to get that. We filled the dumpster and got everything trimmed up. Then after hours when we were closed, the guys came in and painted all the lines, parking spot lines. So it looks fresh, crisp, and clean.
So ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's about taking pride in your club. I mean, it sounds like you take a lot of pride in your club, from the floors all the way to your retention rates and how you communicate with your members. And
you have to if you want a successful business. People are coming here,
right?
Well, for the experience. Mm-hmm. I know a lot. It's one of the top. Cleanliness is one of the top 5 things that people join the club for: location, parking, experience, and cleanliness.
Customer service.
Customer service is right up there. So that's all. That's the top of 6 right there. How is that perceived? Perceived by effort, reinvestment, because it's their dollars. They're getting, hey, I'm giving you $50, $60 a month. Where's it going?
100%.
When they can see it, feel it, touch it. If they take pride in the club themselves. They say, hey, you guys do a great job. Well, we got 16 hours a day of janitorial service. So right now, as I speak, I got 2 people working. And 45 minutes, I got another guy coming on. Then I've got someone that comes in right at closing.
Well, Barry constantly says you guys are great people to work with. I mean, the fruits of your labor, it's proof that you guys run a great club. And the fact that you're willing to take pride in your club down to the minute details says a lot. I'm really happy that you're able to see the amount of success that you guys are seeing at your club, and I'm really glad that our software can help make that happen. There's plenty of other things that are involved in making a successful club happen, and we're just happy that we can be a small part of it.
Well, we appreciate you guys. You always get back to us. If we have an issue with something, you're on it, and you can always get a hold of Barry. They're always available, and they'll give us direction as we need it, as we try different things, or say, hey, how can we do this?
That kind of leads me to my last question. Like you said, there's multiple software solutions out there. If there are club operators out there considering multiple different solutions, what would you give them in terms of, here's why we went with Jonas and why we went with Compete? I know you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but maybe if you can just retouch on a couple key points and maybe offer some advice to people who are searching for new software.
I think it's important that you have control over your back office billing and all that. There's a lot of companies say they will do it. You can do it better, but you gotta want to. If you want the lazy way out and have someone else run all that, and it will show up in customer service, I strongly believe, and that if you want a really successful business, you can make that happen.
So I know you just mentioned a club operator keeping control of their back office billing and everything that comes with it. Oftentimes that may not be a possibility for some club operators. How would you feel about a hybrid model of sorts? Jonas offers full service billing services, but I think where we differ is clients can customize their needed services. So if you want collection emails, text messages, IVR services, a call center, you name it. Well, we offer it. We have tons of different services.
We have full service billing too. So we don't want to drive people away from that option if they need it.
Right.
We'll help them with that side of it too.
Here's the thing: they would probably turn over full service billing if you can get that 99% collection rate. But without being in control of that person when they step through that door and to that front desk, that's not something you could accomplish because you got this other component on the other side. How do you create that total communication system between all of that? So that would be your hybrid. But you would have to say, hey, for us to be successful and get at least 98%, we can get you 98%. But you need to do this. What's the traffic pattern coming in? How do we control that? How do we get the information when we don't have it? Because you guys probably get a lot of information updated through emails and texts and maybe even a few phone calls. But that's only part of it. They've got to stop them when they come in. They may have that information, but that desk has got to be willing and get that. So you have to have that key leader at that desk that can get that, get the pictures. I mean, that's where that turnstile really comes in. If there's another method, or I know there's a lot of clubs that refuse to do that, but they would be astonished. You have to have some sort of system. It may not be a turnstile, but you got to come up with something else where that person stops for a second and then has to go to the front desk. And do you think you can train a staff to be able to say the right words to have that person come up and say, and give you information and feel good about it? That's the magic banana.
Hey, let me help you with that. That's the difference.
I mean, I need your credit card information. Let me help you with that.
Yeah. You're so right on, Paul. There's so many people that just want it all to be done for them, and they don't even manage their front desk employees to get to stop the members when they're standing right there in front of them. And that's the difference between what you've established, what you've created there, and so many other clubs.
Well, and part of that, the next step is get that responsible person that leads that front desk. Now you've taken the first step in creating that culture. Is you got to have that key person at the front desk that's getting the pictures, getting this. Oh, excuse me, we need to get this. Well, what do you need that for? Well, for your security, so we can identify you when you charge things or whatever. That front desk person, they'll do some role playing and training that makes it easier to acquire that data. You can do a turnstile system for the price of about 6 cardio pieces, and your return on investment would probably be within a year.
Wow.
Give or take, depending on the size of your club and, all that.
Right.
And where you're at in your collections. If you're not at 95%, then there's a lot of room for improvement. You need help or a change of perspective. So.
Well, I really hope people take this information and they utilize it, because there's a lot of wisdom in a lot of the things that you're saying. So I hope people listen to this and they implement it into their club. It's like you said, there's different types of club owners out there. And I hope this inspires someone out there to be the type of club owner that is passionate about helping people and improving their club.
And the ones that are willing to take some of those steps, it'll work. I mean, like I said, I've been where it's coupon books and phone calls, back office boiler rooms. I've seen that part of it, and the contracts. And you're trying to collect on the contract and say, well, I'd pay, but I don't even live here anymore or whatever. Like I said, when it was a credit union, they would do a contract and they would feel, we can collect about 3% of this a month was their goal. 3%. And so one of the things, I increased revenue because I did a month to month. Well, month to month, the contract was for 1 month's due, so it was worth about $1 something each month. So based on their formula, that wasn't boding real well, but the revenues kept going up. And eventually we just did away with and part of that is because we're in a small town and we don't have multiple clubs that people could go to. We did away with the contracts, because that would be the issue. I think LA Fitness has done away with contracts too. To me, that's the best model. You pay first and last and an enrollment fee, and you miss that month. Okay, well, we got 20 days to collect it. If not, the next one doesn't go through. That's our first and last month. They're canceled. Then you're not putting any effort into it. You're letting the system kind of self-run itself. I think that's how LA Fitness does that. I bet you they're below 80% collection.
Sure of it.
Because I know that a lot of the chains, that's kind of what they've shifted to, pay first, last. I think Planet's probably like that too. And they don't get that. The one payment doesn't go through, the next one doesn't, and then you're just canceled and you hear nothing from them. So I imagine they got huge turnover, and this is an opportunity for the private club to perhaps flourish, where chains and so forth, I would assume, fail. When we had the Gresham Club, we actually sold that to LA Fitness. To that date, it was the biggest cash deal that they did, because it was just all cash deal. And I knew that they really wanted to get into the Northwest, and this was their first club. And I would go to the club for a while and talk to the regional person, and their big issue was how little they could collect on their contracts. It's like everyone's transitional. They're coming and leaving, and then they just wouldn't pay. And they had a big issue with that. And they had the contracts, and they were trying to collect on contracts when people were there, and then they were moving out of state or 50 miles away, and they didn't have other clubs. And I think they've gone to more of that model, monthly, first, last. You miss the 2 payments, and you're done, and then you come back, and you're going to pay first and last and an enrollment fee. But they just letting that totally play out on an automated system. If you put in this other system and utilize the resources that can be available, you can dramatically increase that revenue.
Well, that's all I have for you, Paul. Like I said, this is tons of not just information, but I think there's a lot of wisdom in the things you've shared. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope that a lot of people, other club owners, appreciate you taking the time, because this is a lot of great information.
Well, thanks for having me, and you guys have been great, and appreciate all your help and everything.
Thanks, Paul. Have a great 4th.
Hey, you too.
Appreciate you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye now. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bytes and Biceps, where tech and fitness meet. We hope you're leaving with fresh ideas and strategies to elevate your club success. We're here to support you on your journey to becoming the best club operator you can be. Remember to explore our Compete Club Management software or our channel partner ecosystem for more tools to help guide you on your road to success. Stay tuned for more expert interviews, actionable tips, and the latest tech innovations in the fitness industry, exclusively on Jonas Fitness's Bytes and Biceps podcast.